What are you playing? It's like, oh, I'm an apprentice.
Yes, you're the apprentice.
No name,
right.
Just an occupation.
I've been a successful businessman in the past, and I've experience with human persuasion.
Everyone would just come to the conclusion of like, oh, he betrayed Jesus. The end.
Right.
We're good.
So I can tell when a deal is on the verge of closing or losing big.
Me, I was always interested, like, why?
Look, I trust you. Do you trust me? What sort of question is that? You believe I have something to offer this group? Yes, I do. Then why won't you take my advice? Am I not here to help you?
I've never asked you for your advice.
Then what am I here for?
Thank you, please, we ask you to hold your rotten vegetables to throw at me till after the event. We thank you on behalf of the Chosen, a celebration of Jesus, for your patience. No, but, thank you, madam in the front row. No, but seriously, thank you, Idaho. Thank you so much for coming out. And thank you especially because I'm aware that there are some people who aren't from Idaho that still came to this event. Thank you for coming, for making that trip. Oh, seriously, if I could see any of you past these headlights, I'd be so impressed right now. I see like a vague shape over here, and it's like, oh, there's a person. Hello. Yes, hello, ma'am. You have lovely glasses. And the lady behind you, and darkness. Amazing. No, but seriously, it's truly, we appreciate you coming out and hearing our stories and taking part in such a wonderful event of togetherness and community. I wanted to talk a little bit about the part that I play, if you're open to listen. Thank you. A question that I get a lot that I like to try to answer as well that I can for everyone is ask me, how does it playing Judas? Is it hard to play Judas? And for the most part, honestly, it isn't. I've been very lucky to be a well-trained performer. In my studies, I've played many types of roles. I've played the bloody murderous Macbeth. I've played Amir, a disgruntled lawyer who ended up beating his wife in a fit of frustration. I've played the devil twice. I'm not gonna lie, both were really fun. But this was different because it wasn't as difficult as I think a lot of people would assume it would be. The difficulty would come later, but really in a performance form. And in the eyes of an actor, it's really just the work. You kind of prepare for these emotional moments. If anything, you take revelry in them because you get a chance to tap into such emotional heights that you want others to appreciate and understand from your performance. It really is a form of communication that we as actors try to reach to you, the audience. But that's not what's hard about it. What's hard is you. And that's not you specific, that's more the royal you. Don't worry, you're good. Like Jennifer in the third row, fourth back center, you're good, promise. But it's difficult because even with all of my studying, with all of my technique as a performer, I know at the end of the day, there's nothing I can really do to change the natural perspective that this community, this faith group, and this religion have on him. And it's very still present. I've had many kind words, very sweet, gentle hearts reaching out, but at the same time, some very rough comments and perspectives. some that I almost save to just keep my perspective true on both sides and to humble myself when I'm getting a bit too big-headed. People who show up in the most randomest parts of my social media, moments where I take for levity and for fun. For example, I posted a TikTok once, RIP, about the new Superman movie. Has anyone heard about the new Superman movie that's coming out?
Yeah.
Nice. Honestly, the fact that I got applause at all, I'll take it. I'm personally very excited. Superman as a character means a lot to me. His idyllic form of hope, his care for others, and his grassroots origins. Because no matter how many times people try to pit him as a god, as this weapon of mass destruction, this impeccable threat to human society, at the end of the day, he's just a small farm town kid from Kansas, from Smallville. And he chose to be human. He's a man who just happens to be super. And that means a lot to me. I posted a video, and almost 90% of the comments were Judas related. Things along the lines of, Judas, when I catch you outside, not today, Judas. For 30 pieces of silver, dude? Away from me, Satan. I don't know how you do it. I wouldn't want to be you. Which, if I'm being honest, isn't new to me. I've been in Judas's shoes. I've kind of lived in them my entire life. Ever since I was a kid, I remember being bullied, being shunned, being a bit of an outcast, because I didn't know how to communicate with people. I was a very excited little kid, very awkward, and I had a lot to prove. I had a lot that I wanted to share, a lot that I wanted to understand, and not a lot of people had the patience for me. Not a lot of people liked me. You might know kids like those. You might go to school with kids like those. You might remember kids like those. You might be kids like those. So, trust me, I understand that feeling, and it's not new. But because I was that kid, because I was not the most sociable, because I wasn't the most funny or good-looking or tall, athletic, I wasn't good at anything. I was a loser. I happened to connect with this biblical character who also happened to be outcast and forgotten by our community and kind of condemned to his fate. And that didn't really sit right with me. I couldn't help but revisit the story of Judas in my youth at times and connect with him more than I could anyone else. I saw someone who everyone else also hated. No matter what he did in the Gospels or the Scriptures, he was seen as messing up and doing wrong. And then when he inevitably was overcome with so much guilt and self-hate for something he did wrong, things that I do wrong all the time, that I feel guilty about, that I hate myself for, that I look in the mirror and I was like, that was stupid. That was horrible. And he eventually takes his own life because of it. And that is where I felt the most connected. As a kid growing up with ADHD and a constant state of, feel it. As a kid growing up with ADHD and depression and anxiety and not being able to find any answers for those in my faith, in my church, in my community, in, I can't say friends because those were non-existent at the time. I found someone who's also alone. And I can only hope and think that maybe he felt the same way that I did. And maybe he doesn't deserve to be kicked while he's down, because I know I don't like it when I'm down there. So why would he? I took this almost mental protective feeling about him, started bringing up in debates in family dinners to much of my mother's chagrin. Because I felt like there was more to him. And that it felt unfair to condemn him to a certain fate, to speak so confidently about who this man was, based on hindsight, of a single misdeed that was so great that even he couldn't handle it. I'd like to ask a general question that I asked the early audience, and I wonder if you'll answer the same. Is there anyone here, and you can speak up if you feel so, believes without a shadow of a doubt that if Judas hadn't taken his own life, and he had gone to Christ and asked for redemption, that Christ would have rejected him?
No.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Notice how we're so confident in that? How we know his heart? Then why is it so hard for us to follow that? And that's not a condemnation. It's a genuine question. It's hard. It's hard to look at people who have done us wrong. It's hard to look at people who have been wrong and hope for them to be better. But it's not the flock who stay that gets the shepherd's attention. It's the sheep who strays. It's the prodigal sons and daughters. It's the tax collectors, the prostitutes, the homeless, the harbingers, the people who need a home that he focuses on the most. And why couldn't Judas be that? Who's to say that Judas couldn't have been the most amazing redemption story to ever be seen? And that was stolen away from us. Not because of greed, not because of devil manipulation, but because of despair, because of heartbreak, because of an overwhelming loneliness and sadness that we couldn't even possibly fathom. Suicide is a genuine, real problem that we as society still face today. I know people who've lost loved ones to it, and I've myself struggled with it, having come quite close if it wasn't for a very dear friend of mine. And I always think how grateful and thankful I am for the people who hoped in me, for the people who kept their arms open in my times of despair. So I hope and I genuinely pray that in your times and as you enjoy the rest of our show for the seasons to come, that when you look at Judas, that you don't judge him with contempt. You don't look at him as something to compare yourself to. You are not, that's another comment that I get that I don't really like. You are no lesser or greater than Judas. It's not a bar to compare yourself to, but a mirror that I hope you can look into and maybe understand a little bit more. That maybe we've had moments where we've also walked in Judas's shoes, or maybe moments where we've been close to a Judas, and we've had second chances. And I think they deserve the same. The possibility of redemption. That's the promise he gives us. That's what we should strive for. And you'd be surprised with how much power you, in your human sense, past the miracles, past the parables and proclamations, that you have an effect on your fellow man and woman. So please, you have the ability to save a Judas in your life. And I think that's worth more than all the miracles in the world. Thank you.